Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so what we do in this webinar is we introduce you to Bookmap, go through the definition, what it is, who uses it, how to connect it, how to get it, and then we look at the live market and we start to define the elements on the Bookmap chart. So you understand what you're looking at and how to read the order flow in context with the data that we're visualizing. So that said, we have an advanced order flow webinar that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. And in that webinar, and I'm going to give you the link for that today. So if you want to take a look at it and you want to see what our educational process is like, you can go and visit that webinar. The advanced order flow webinars, though, let me explain a little bit about them. It's not a trading room, but due to our analysis there, we start to anticipate where future price might go. Okay, so we are analyzing the live market, and due to a very objective process, then we start to look for where price might go. This is all based on our educational course, and that is all for subscribers. So when you subscribe, you get access to our educational course, and then every day you'll see the same course content in the live market advanced order flow webinars. So you can learn about it in the course, and then you can start to see it in the live market. Anyway, let me give you that link here so that you guys have it. Just a moment here. All right, where is it? Just a moment. Yeah, I'll find it. I'll find it. So just a second here. There we go. There it is. Okay, I'm going to put this into the chat box there and go to webinar. There you go. Okay, so click on that and you can register. And then that'll start in about 26 minutes or so. All right. So let's go over the and define what Bookmap is and go to the bookmap.com website. Okay, so bookmap.com, I read about it here. So what is Bookmap? Well, let's define it first up front here. We are a software trading platform, just like other platforms out there like NinjaTrader or TradeStation or Thinkorswim or whomever it might be. We're just like they are. We're software. We're not a broker, though. We're not a data provider. Okay, we have a unique way of visualizing the market data. That's our strength. Anyway, that's what Bookmap is. Let's continue on here. Who uses it? Day traders, scalpers, swing traders, and quants. Now, we come from that quant HFT environment, developing algos and then visualizing the performance of those algos. That's how Bookmap was actually developed. But we started to note that this was a really good data visualization, and it works not only for high frequency environment, but also in the much higher time frames for swing traders, day traders, and also position traders. So it's just not a scalping tool alone here. However, it does work very effectively as one. Anyway, you can read more about getting an edge here, what exactly Bookmap does, and we're going to go through that though in the webinars today. Okay, so anyway, let's move on to connectivity. These are the three different markets that Bookmap connects to: futures, U.S. equities, and digital currencies. Now, the data here, we need to go through and understand exactly what it costs, etc. The data for the digital currencies is free. Okay. Now, as mentioned, we're not a broker nor data provider. So for the stocks and for the futures, you will need to provide the data. Okay, now how you connect with equities is right here, DX feed. You'll need to subscribe to DX feed and get US equities. For futures, you have many different choices here. You have Rhythmic, CQG, Gain Capital, Transact, IQ Feed, Nanotick, and Cedro. Cedro is for Brazilian markets. And then you can also see there's some platforms listed here. And you can connect via the API of TT Xtrader Pro, via TT API, and then NinjaTrader 7 and 8, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. So you have those three options as well via the API of another platform. However, we are a platform, so it's better to connect directly with your data provider like Rhythmic or CQG. All right, some good words about Bookmap and testimonials, and then let's go down here to the packages here and pricing. Okay, you can subscribe yearly here and get a discount, or you can subscribe monthly here by clicking on the link. And you can see the four different versions that are available here. Digital versions and global versions. The digital versions are for digital currencies only. Those are the only markets that you can connect to. The global versions, you connect to all the different types of markets. Okay, so that's the distinction. Now you can see this digital version over here, it is free. You only get access to one digital currency at a time, and you cannot record it, but at least the market is always open, even over the weekend, and it is the data is free. So you can get up and running in 5 minutes and be looking at a live market in Bookmap. Okay, now if you are trading US equities or futures, well, the digital free version here will allow you to look at the futures markets by replaying a recorded futures file, or you get a delayed data feed for the US equities. So those are the two different ways that you can still get some insight of what Bookmap can do for you. Now, if you want to look at the live markets though, I would just recommend simply subscribing to Bookmap Global for a month for 49 bucks, see how it goes, connect your data, and take a look, see if this is something that works for you. All right, so that's the digital free version. Now, the digital plus version, this allows you to record and replay. Okay, you will need to subscribe here. It allows you to trade right from the Bookmap chart into a fully funded GDAX or BitMEX account. And you get not just one currency, you get 20 different currencies per exchange. So you can have hundreds basically, depending on how many digital exchanges that you connect to. All right, you get the advanced education here that I mentioned earlier, and you also get full support. You do not get that with the free version. All right, now let's move on to the global version here. Okay, the big distinction between global and digital is the ability to connect your data to the futures and US equities markets. All right, that's the difference there. The Global Plus version, let's go over that. You get everything that I've mentioned, including our add-on indicators. So you can trade right from the Bookmap chart into your funded account. The big advantage there, you have the liquidity heat map there in front of you. So why not take advantage of it and front run high liquidity for guaranteeing or higher probability of getting filled instead of watching the market move away from you, or hide your stops behind high liquidity as well. So you have less probability of getting stopped out. All right. So that allows you to optimize your trading due to the order flow. Okay, we have our proprietary indicators that look at very specific order flow phenomena, like our large lot tracker. What this looks at here is the larger players in the order book holding the majority of the liquidity there. We want to know what their activity is. We want to follow the bigger players, and our algo can detect them in the book. We have some imbalance indicators for both the book and volume, and we have an iceberg tracker. Again, larger players, but they don't want to show their liquidity. They're hiding it. They're using a hidden order or iceberg order, but our algo can detect them. Correlation tracker, adding different markets right onto the Bookmap chart. This has been a good one in the advanced order flow webinars that we've been using. Okay. those are the different versions. To scroll down, just go through a few more resources, and then we'll look at the live market. There's a blog. Here's some of the featured posts here, or you can click on the link up here and look at all of them. Then let's go over to our Twitter feed, okay, at bookmap_pro. Okay, all sorts of information here to take a look at, and yeah, updated information, trade data, or I'm sorry, order flow phenomena, other traders, etc. All right, and our YouTube page. Okay, so this would be kind of like the basic education you can get from our YouTube page. There's some intro videos here you might want to take a look at, and then features and components. Okay, all the different features in Bookmap. Select some selected webinars here, and then order flow video snippets. I think you guys will find these very helpful here. This details the order flow phenomena that Bookmap can uncover. Right, this is how you're going to get the advantage here. Using Bookmap. Very short and concise videos that go through the concepts that we go through in a lot of detail in the advanced order flow webinars. So this would be kind of the cheap way to understand what you're looking at in Bookmap and how to use it in your trading. All right, let's jump into Bookmap. Take a look and see what's going on here. We'll look at the NASDAQ E-mini. And I have open a lot of other add-on indicators here that are actually free. They come with Bookmap Global, like the point of control and our VWAP and our cumulative volume delta subchart. We're going to close those up for now. We'll add them back on in the advanced order flow webinar. So if you attend that, you can learn more about them there. All right. For those of you who came in late, on Friday, we give the link out for the advanced order flow webinar. Okay, so if you want to attend that, it starts in about 17 minutes, and there's the link. It's in the chat, so just click on that and register. Okay. All right. Must be getting closer to rollover here pretty soon. Starting to see it tighten up. The market starting to tighten up a little bit. In terms of liquidity. Anyway, let's look at the elements here on the Bookmap chart and start to define them. Okay, what are we looking at? Especially for those of you who are new here. Okay, we're going to define these three elements on the Bookmap chart. Some interesting stuff here, interesting players. Look at this little pattern here of liquidity. You know, the same player, it looks like, you know, adding in a couple different layers and then pulling and then adding again. And he's very, very consistent in this area here, both on the offer and on the bid. Okay, so interesting stuff. Yeah, there's definitely, you know, keeping his Q in the line here. Anyway, what am I talking about? What am I'm starting to gather information and knowledge from what we're looking at in this heat map. Okay, these orange bars here. Let's define the heat map. That's the first element on this Bookmap chart. Okay, and let me just step back here and say, like, for those of you who are new, you're going to look at this and think, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, it looks very, very complex. It's very simple, straightforward data. It's simpler than just the concept of a candlestick. Because we're really truly showing you a very objective view of the market and all of its data points. Okay, so in fact, that said, we'll get to the heat map in just a minute, and let me just strip away and we'll put a candlestick chart on here, and we're going to take all the other data off. Right, and just look at a 5-minute candlestick chart here. Okay, all right, here we go. 5 minutes of data per every 5, I'm sorry, 1 bar every 5 minutes. And this bar represents all of the data that occurred within that 5 minutes. This is very, very opaque view of the market. Why is that? Well, what do we have after 5 minutes? We only have 4 data points here: open, high, low, and close. That's truly all you are getting here. Okay? We want to understand what happened between these 5 minutes. We want to understand the volume. Where did the volume trade? How much? What type? Exactly where? critical information to understand. Look at this kind of move, a breakout above this little swing here, and a nice strong candle. We come all the way to the other side of the range here. Well, what we're going to see in the order flow here is we're going to see that the aggressive buyers start to take control, right? And we'll see exactly where. We're going to see microstructure, okay? And that's the first element I'm going to show here on the Bookmap chart is we're looking at here. Now, all I'm adding is historical best bid and offer, okay? And why is that good? Why is that important? Such a simple thing. It's because when you look at the historical best bid and offer, now you're looking at truly how the market was trading, because it's not aggregated data within a period of either 5 minutes in this case, or it could be volume period, it could be a range bar period, point and figure period, it doesn't matter. It's still a period of data and it's aggregated all together, and that is opaque. Okay, just by showing historical best bid and offer, we're showing you precisely what happened within the 5 minute period. Okay, such a simple thing, but very, very powerful. And let's zoom into this 5 minute period here and take a look and see what happened here. Okay, we'll zoom out just a little bit. Okay, all right, so this allows us to now start to see microstructure. And what do I mean by microstructure? Okay, very simply put, little areas here of consolidation and breakout, etc. So for example, well, we had a little area of consolidation here. We broke it, okay? We had another little area here. We actually broke it here, but then it came back into the range, and then it broke the high here, okay? This little swing high, okay? We're gonna see here when we turn on the volume, really the relationship here between structure and volume. Okay, so that's the first element, and that's the advantage you're getting is by not looking at an aggregated market or periodicity in your bars. Okay, now let's take a look at, let's clear this off. Let's take a look at the volume. Okay, we want to know precisely where the volume traded. Okay, here's the next level or element on the Bookmap chart. Right now, this is pretty typical. Okay, look at the higher volume at these lows here, and look what type it is. Okay, we see a lot of red. Okay, that's the aggressor market sell orders. They're hitting the bid in these areas here. Look at the buyers up here. Okay, there's not a whole lot, right? It kind of makes a quick move up here. It doesn't completely exhaust out. Most of the time we see very little or none, no trading up in these areas. Here we're seeing just a little more than normal, to be honest. That gives us a little insight to this move to the upside, in fact. Anyway, here's where the buyers take control though, okay? We come down, we make a swing low, and then you start to see in, in this area here, some of the buyers starting to step in, okay? They start to step in again, and then they break the swing high. How do they break the swing high? On volume. Okay, they're starting to take control of this market. Okay, due to this, we're starting to look for next swings to start to take place here. Okay, and we can see we come up to them, and there's still more buying up in these areas here, and even more buying at higher highs. Okay, this is bullish. We're starting to see a reversal take place. All right, so starting to understand who's in control just by looking at volume and microstructure from the best bid and offer. Okay, let's zoom into this area because I want to show you how simple this data is. Okay, because it's about as simple as you can get. Okay, there's no a derivative here of time, price, or volume, or any kind of mathematical complexity at all. It's the market. This is how it traded. So this little interesting structure here, we have the best offer is the historical best offer is the red line, and the best bid is the green line. Okay, we can see how the spread widened out here a little bit. How did it widen out? Well, because we found sellers that actually hit the bid here. So these are the aggressors where they met liquidity. They hit the market sell button. A red dot paints on the Bookmap chart, and these sellers here, they're taking liquidity off of the best bid. In fact, they took enough liquidity off of the best bid to sweep it a couple of price levels. Okay, that's how the market moves. A very, very simple, straightforward thing. Buyers step in and they move it right back up. Okay, so and then there's no trading for a while, and then a little flurry up here. Let me zoom into this little flurry here because we're going to see, and I want to just show you how precise we're recording all of this data. Okay, we're showing you every single transaction. This is truly what took place here, and we're looking at millions of seconds here. Okay, we can start to understand algorithmic activity. We can see everything that starts to take place here. Okay, we can zoom into billions of seconds if you like. I'll spare you that, but note how everything is recorded. Now, note how though, when I zoom back out, we aggregate just graphically or visually that into a bigger dot, right? Now we actually have two little dots here, but you want to know the precise data here? Well, you can use this data tip tool and you can see this one was for a volume of 10 and this is for a volume of 1. Right? So you still have all the data here, and you want the details, zoom in, and then take a look here, and we can see volume of 1. Each one of these was for volume 1. This was for a volume of 4. Okay, and that's really what took place here. All right. Anyway, those are two elements on the Bookmap chart. Okay, the best bid and offer and the volume, but just that alone. Without showing this third element, which is really the key here and the advantage in Bookmap. But this alone is quite an advantage. Why? Because now you can start to understand, like if you're looking at a footprint chart, okay, let's say you're looking at a 5-minute footprint chart, what you're gonna see is like volume clusters in this little area here, right? You're going to see that the volume picked up, and you'd be looking for a pullback into that area here. That's you know what you do, and you'd note that there was buyers here, and you'd note that they broke above this little swing here. Okay, but the problem is here is you just don't understand. You can't grasp microstructure and the volume because it's within that aggregated period. So this is just very typical how the market trades. More buyers at higher highs here. Okay, here's the lower, or I'm sorry, the higher low right here, and look at the volume that traded down there. Okay, not much. Right, that's pretty typical as well. Okay, it usually exhausts out down on the retests, and then you find more and more buying pressure at higher highs. Okay, until it starts to exhaust out up here, and then you look for maybe reversal or at least sideways market. Okay, or at least the lows to start to trade. Okay. Anyway, alone that alone is pretty powerful information. Okay. Oops, don't want to open that. Let's take the candlestick off here now. Okay, and these are those two elements. Now let's go to the current market here, and I want to show you the third element on the Bookmap chart. Okay, and this is the one that we're usually not too accustomed to accessing, and for a lot of traders, it kind of throws them for a loop. Because they haven't really seen too much of this before. And that is the liquidity heat map, okay? And let's define what this is. All right, so there's the heat map. And let's zoom in here, all right? And what is the heat map showing us here? Well, what it is showing us the liquidity at specific price levels, okay, historically here. Okay, so we gotta go to the current market to start to define what it is. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit more. And yeah, it looks like the contract really has rolled over. So I'm gonna have to add that for the next session here. Go to the Z contract. Okay, volume was still good yesterday. So anyway, but yeah, it's really looking like it's starting to roll over here. And how do I know that? Is because of the behavior here in the liquidity heat map. You start to see it behave like this a bit. Anyway, let's define what this heat map is. Now, it's liquidity. It's from the order book, the DOM, your depth of market. So those of you familiar with your depth of market, well, then this is what you're looking at here in Bookmap. Now, this white line, this vertical white line, this makes the distinction between the historical market to the left and the current market to the right. So here's your current best bid and offer. This number is your last traded volume. This is your price ladder here. And then the COB column stands for current order book. Okay, these are contracts. Okay, it's liquidity. These are traders here, up here, providing pretty high liquidity. They want to be sellers up at these areas. And look how they just pulled. Okay, and then down below here, they want to be buyers. Okay? And that's that. This is the auction. This is what's going on right now. When these numbers become really high liquidity, well, we paint them here in the current market in the heat map. The scale of the heat map is up here. Very high liquidity is this orangish red color, then yellow is less, then white, then blue, and then dark gray or black is the least amount of liquidity. Right? You can change this heat map to whatever you like. See how it got very high up here, 123 contracts. Now they pulled some and it's 114. All right, so when the numbers change in the dome, well, the heat map will change to reflect it. Now, the problem with the dome is when these numbers change, you've lost any kind of history of what took place there, unless you just memorize it. And that can be very tedious and challenging to do, especially over time. Okay, so what we do though is when the numbers change, the heat map changes, but then it's recorded and then transposed onto the chart here historically. So look at this this little area right here. Okay, interesting stuff. Look how there's high liquidity in this area here. Okay, 74 contracts and 80 contracts. They actually pull and they add lower. Okay, so this player here looks like we're identifying one larger player. In fact, not only is he pulling from these areas here, and adding lower here, he's actually adding up above here as well. Okay, and then he pulls from here and then adds back up into this level here. Okay, it's got to be the same player, right? We're identifying them. That's rather challenging to do by just looking at the numbers in the dome. Okay, so we can see all of their activity and we can start to gauge their intent to trade at these price levels. This gives us a lot of insight. Now we're looking at the full picture of the order flow. We're looking at the microstructure from best bid and offer. We're looking at the volume very precisely recorded on that best bid and offer. And then we're looking at the auction in the heat map. Okay, where are they willing to buy or sell in the auction? Okay, and not just for this current market or recent market, we can zoom out. And this is where you really can use Bookmap on much higher time frames. Okay, and today actually it's very choppy and not seeing a whole lot here except for two very distinct areas. Up here, high liquidity at 7,600 the figure, and then down here at 7,550. Okay, so a 50-point range, and we're channeling between that area, as you can see. All right. All right, well, let's wrap it up. I'll put for those of you who came in late, I'm going to put it in here one more time to give you the link for the advanced order flow webinar. There you go. Okay, so click on that and register. And then we'll see you over at the next webinar that starts in just a minute. Okay? All right, thanks for coming. Bye-bye.